Hi guys, Shelly Fitzgerald here with Shelly Quilts. So I am working on a lot of UFOs, just like many of you are. And I found all these 16 patch squares that were created long ago and far away with some Christmas, I think these were probably strips. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I would set those. I'll show you the finished quilt at the end, of course. But I just thought I'd set them with sashing and then have this Christmas kind of an old-fashioned quilt finished. What I want to show you today is how to get these so that they match across the sashing. So I first put a 16 patch, a sashing strip, a 16 patch, a sashing strip, and did it exactly like I'm going to show you. And now I'm on my very last row to connect the entire quilt together. And it dawned on me that this might be something you'd like to know how to do. So let me show you how to get these so they line up straight across the sashing, both horizontally and vertically. And I'll show you that now. Okay, so I happen to be just doing the final really long strip of the entire quilt, but I did this exactly the same when I did those smaller and shorter strips. So I like to place the piece or the part of the project that does not have the sashing on it face up at the bottom. And then I'm going to take the piece with the sashing face down on top. And I am a pinner. I think I've explained that to you guys before. You don't have to be, but in this instance, I really want this simple quilt to look perfect. I think the more simple they are, the more perfect your work has to be. So now I made these long ago and found them in a drawer, and I had pressed all of these seams open. I wouldn't do that anymore. I don't think that the quilt will be as strong. Now when I quilt it, I can take care of that. It'll be fine. But just because you see my seams pressed open, that's always your choice. But I don't think I would do that again. But that has no bearing on how I'm handling this. What I'm going to do is, because I have this face down, I can lift it up and peek and see that this intersection and that intersection line up. So I'm going to shift that a bit, and now I can see that those are perfectly straight all the way. Then when I put this down, I can pin right here. Now I will sew ultimately from this side, but each one of these I'm going to look. So there's this intersection. Is it lined up with that one? I'm going to get that just right, and then go ahead and pin. Now, you probably don't have to pin every single intersection. I do. But you would want to pin fairly often so that you got those lined up. But I am finding more success by having the sashing on top and those intersections underneath so that I can see all the way. And when I put the individual blocks together, I did this exactly the same. So then when I come to the sashings, those I did iron to the center. So I would take this seam line right here and make sure that it's lined up with the one underneath. That needs to move over this way just a little bit. And that way I can tell that I'm getting a really nice straight line. So that's how I've put this entire quilt together. And it's going to look pretty awesome. A nice, great, big, simple quilt. And I will have another UFO out of the drawer. And that's what I wanted to show you today, is how to line up your blocks across sashing so that they're really nice and perfect. So this is Shelly Fitzgerald with Sew Shelly Quilts, and I hope you find this tip useful. Okay guys, now it's time to sew. So when I pinned it, I pinned with the sashing up. But when I'm stitching, I'm going to stitch with the pieced part up so that I can make sure to not interrupt any of these intersections. I usually have these tweezers. These come in the box when you buy a number 8, but all Bernina dealers have these just on the wall. Great tweezers. I like that they aim down instead of having to move my hand and point. And with those, I'm going to confirm that these layers are still perfectly even, and I'm just going to be sewing my 1/4 inch. Now I'm sewing around a camera, so do my best. So here we go. I want to pull. I can sew until that pin is up under the foot, and then use my tweezers and pull that out. And then confirm, and I just go slow and I confirm that every section is lined up correctly before I keep moving to the next one. See, down here it's not going to be lined up so perfect, so I'm going to drag with those tweezers, and now those are lined up better. Pull the pin, and I will just make it all the way down this quilt like that. So that's how you stitch it. It's going to be lined up beautifully. I'll show you the finished product in a minute. All right, so here's the top. And it's nice that those lines line up so that your eye can follow. So kind of a fun find in a drawer. They were just little blocks made up of 16 squares, and the pile of them I decided to put together with sashing and set it on the diagonal, and so it'll be fun. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. Anyway, the first time I ever set squares together with sashing, I didn't do such a good job of lining it up, and so I just thought maybe that would be a helpful tip for some of you. And that's all I got for today. This is Shelley Fitzgerald with Sew Shelley Quilts. Bye.